place in the last four. Let's hand over to our boys in the box.
Thank you.
Neil Folds is alongside Philip Studd.
Trump to break.
And what another cracking quarter-final we have in the offing here. They've got something to live up to, haven't they, after that superb standard that Neil Robertson and Xiao Guodong produced. But they're more than capable of doing just that. We've already referenced the terrific rivalry between them. 7 wins apiece, although, as Maguire acknowledged, Trump has had the better of things of late. He's won the last 3. And a couple of those have been drubbings, including their most recent meeting at the Shanghai Masters, a 5-0 win for Trump. He also beat Maguire 6-0 in the semi-finals of the China Open last year. Maguire's most recent win over his opponent today, the quarter-finals of the Australian Open a couple of years ago, and that was also pretty emphatic at 5-1. Very confident that he'd make the plant. It looked dead set. Didn't hold back, did he?
Yes, it was dead in line. He's got to make sure he hit it in line, and the ball will obviously go in. Interesting choice of shot here. I mean, I've seen him knock those in the middle before, especially with the red over the pocket. But he plays cautiously, respecting his opponent, Stephen Maguire. Well, he's unsure of a route to go down, and he's probably thought he'd spread a number of reds, but only one moved somehow. It's not really a reckless shot. What he's really saying is he can't see a safety shot, and you know, if you chance your arm, you might fluke one, you might put balls awkward, but none of that has happened here. He's left Trump with a chance.
One. Six. 7.
Well, Trump is yet another player on the tour who plays with his opposite hand, and he does it very well, as you saw there. He actually was the last match off yesterday, quite a late finish, which wouldn't happen to him all that often, but there were circumstances surrounding that. Obviously, the Elliott Slesser-Peter Ebden match took most of the afternoon. And Slesser only lost narrowly to Trump. That was a late one. Probably a good thing that
12.
Judd wasn't on, perhaps at midday today, a bit more time. Finished nowhere. Safety shot is all he has.
Jack trump 12.
Could have finished anywhere, that red. But not really potable. Could match this. I think, like everyone else, I'm looking forward to tonight with Ronnie O'Sullivan against John Higgins, which you can watch live on Eurosport. But I think this is one for the connoisseur as well. Two really top-class players. I was just sitting actually up there in that studio, Philip, thinking that next door to Jimmy White. And these two, those three players, you could argue the best players never to have been world champion.
Well, it was interesting to hear Trump say to you that Maguire has hugely underperformed, and I think that's a fair comment, given his talent. But you could level a similar accusation at Trump, given his tremendous natural talent. Of course, the difference is that Trump is 8 years Maguire's junior. He's still only 28. He's got a lot of snooker ahead of him. But like Maguire, he only owns the one Triple Crown title, the UK Championship. And that was 6 years ago now.
1.
And Maguire has only won 2 ranking titles in the last 9 years.
Well, that last shot, he seemed to have very little angle to play with. And it looked dead straight to me. He actually ended up in a place where he could conceivably go for this black. It's
Black
definitely
ball.
a possibility. Oh, goodness me, he didn't go for it. That's it. I can't believe it. He's already refused about 3 shots
Jack trump 1.
in this opening frame that I didn't think he would refuse. I thought he would go for that. It's almost more difficult to play the safety shot than try and knock it in.
He spoke very candidly, didn't he, after one of his earlier wins this week, about how recently he's felt nervous on the table and that perhaps he's been guilty of second-guessing himself to some degree, and that he wanted to get back to plan A, which is the very attacking, open game that he plays so well when he's feeling confident. So perhaps those early shot choices are indicative of the fact that he's feeling the pressure in the early stages here. And he won't be happy with that one. What has he left?
Well, this is not an easy plant. It doesn't look too bad on there, but the red near the pocket is not hanging over it. It's a good 5-6 inches away. Yeah, and that was the problem. Even if you hit it, it doesn't mean it will automatically go in.
One.
Well, Trump somewhat unfortunate, or rather lucky, I should say. Maguire unfortunate that he didn't have a straightforward red to go for just now. And Trump could now profit from that.
Six. Seven. Twelve. 13.
Well, if it knocked the two reds away from the pink here, to perhaps bring the pink into play. Deciding that he's not taking any real risks. There are reds out in middle of the table that you might not need, but
18.
I guess if he goes on to win the frame from here, then fair enough.
19.
Hit that well to finish topside on the blue. This time he might play the shot. Well, another unusual choice. I'm amazed he's playing the black. I really can't work that out at all when he's perfectly on the blue. He's hit the jaw of the middle pocket.
And it was a missable black
26.
as well. In fact, he very nearly did miss it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if the black will pot now it's been respotted. It may go to the right corner. Oh, I think he's played some very unusual
Judd Trump, 26.
and debatable shots so far. He's usually so attacking. I mean, he's put the black on its spot, and I don't think it pots anywhere now. And it goes to one corner, in fairness, which is something. But I still think you should have played the blue. Anyway, may make no difference.
One.
Then again, maybe it will, with Maguire sinking that excellent opening red.
Could be the counter-attack in the frame.
4. Five.
So those two reds are now in the open, but it's Maguire that has
12.
taken the opportunity to move them and not Judd, even though he had a chance. he might have to play on the red long, the cushion that's on the left of the table. If it's tight, it would cause him problems, but with the black going to the pocket here, probably all he can do. He's finished nice and close to it if he's playing it with pace.
20. $21.
Now, if he's just off straight here, he may be able to just nudge into the first red of the two. It's what he's really hoping for. Other than that, it is to finish perhaps on the right-hand red of the two. I think he can cannon these. It's perfect.
$28.
Well, that
Maguire,
comes as a
28.
surprise. He was a bit close to it. He's looking at the red. I wonder if it kicked or something. It seemed to go straight on. He thought it did anyway. Interesting opening frame. Both players have seemed a little bit puzzled. Maguire certainly after that shot.
One. Six. Seven. Yeah.
Well, I think if he just runs this through, he should be all right on the red. I don't think the blue is going to snooker him. So 24 in front, any colour, except for the yellow,
12.
which of course he's not going to be taking anyway here, given where it's placed. And that means that Maguire needs a snooker in his opening frame.
13.
Crowd acknowledging then that Trump is over the winning line, barring a snooker.
18. Jack Trump, 18.
But it is just the one. 30 the difference, 27 still there.
Two.
Well, he didn't mean to fluke it, but I tell you, it may not be bad. He's got a really good chance of getting a snooker now. In behind the brown, I'm thinking, with the cue ball. Push the green somewhere down the table. He's not over the line in the frame yet, Judd Trump. So that fluke actually
Stephen Maguire, 2.
meant more than it seemed, you know, to get a fluke when you need snookers. It's probably often the last thing you want, but here it worked well for him. Judd's in a bit of trouble. This is the kind of snooker that can be missed.
With no safe colour to rescue him if he does miss.
Yeah, I think he wants to come down off two cushions. Bottom cushion will be the last of them, but the right-hand one before the middle with right-hand side. It's a very good shot. It's better than it looked. Could be in another one behind the pink, but even then, that's a good escape. Well, usual way of playing, but that was a good shot. I think Judd can find that left-hand cushion angle, touch of right-hand side and hit this. He's just got to be careful that he doesn't go in off in the top left if he hits half ball here. That's why he played it at the speed he did. Yeah, it's another one. I guess if you can hit the previous snooker, then you'd fancy him to hit this one. You've got two ways of hitting it, either directly or you could hit the cushion first. The bulk cushion, that is. But it's not simple.
Foul. Stephen Maguire 4.
So the frame is back in the balance. Good hit, but at the moment it's Maguire in charge of the table.
Yeah, I think it'll stay that way after this shot. Doesn't need a snooker anymore, so all he's got to do is make sure these two balls are a long way apart. Cue ball and the green.
Well, that's changed things. Maguire's turn to be snookered. And of course, Trump only needs the green, and Maguire will need snookers once again. Long way off.
Yeah, not all that close, was it? Yeah, from that view, you can see that he's good 2 or 3 inches out. It's a very thin cut to the left middle for Maguire, but I think having been out of the frame, if he can get to it to pot it, he may be as well to go for it. But it is thin, I have to say.
Well, it was very thin. Has he got away with it?
Yes, it was just the edge of the very edge of the ball he had to hit. He's not got away with it. But Judd was nowhere near the pot there.
He's looked rather edgy, hasn't he, in this opening frame, Trump? And it would be hurtful for him, even though it is just the first frame of a possible 9, were he to lose it, having got Maguire at the snooker's required stage.
Yes, we're billing this match as a fascinating one, and it will be, but this is the opening frame has been strange. Strange, with the possible further twist or two. But it will be another opportunity for Judd.
He only needs the green. Wow.
3.
His heart would have been in his mouth there. That cue ball was travelling, but it hit the jaw. Yes, no wonder he's puffing out his cheeks, and a rueful smile of sorts from Maguire. Well, certainly been a fascinating first frame.
7.
It could have gone either way. It's gone Trump's way.
12. Judd Trump 18.
And that
the
should
first frame.
settle any early nerves for the reigning European Masters champion. Steve Maguire thinking about what might have been, but it's Trump who gets his nose in front at the start of this quarter-final. He leads 1-0.
Second frame, Stephen Maguire to break.
Second frame, second quarter-final here at the Scottish Open. Tremendous opening last 8 encounter. Neil Robertson edging out Xiao Guodong with a superb pressure break in the decider. We had a pretty edgy opening frame here between Judd Trump and Steve Maguire. Trump will be relieved to have got over the line in the end because he had Maguire needing a snooker, which he got. But the long green eventually doing for the Glaswegian. Long way to go, though. The 15th meeting, 7 wins each. And the winner to play either Ricky Walden or Chow Yupeng, who are in action this evening on the Eurosport Player.
Yeah, I think a special mention to Chow Yupeng. Of course, he's in the quarter-final, but of course, earlier in the week, he knocked in a 147 break worth £20,000. So he's had a pretty decent week, hasn't he, all things considered, and he could still add to it.
Yeah, guaranteed another 20,000 for reaching the quarter-finals. That's a Judd Trump special. Look at the action on the cue ball.
Yeah, this is a fantastic shot. This is proper cueing. And he deserved that little nudge that he got, which was on the green, which means he's got an angle on the brown here. If he wants to be adventurous, he could go into the bunch again. What a shot. That's 2 shots that are extremely positive, despite maybe not taking the shots on in frame 1. Frame 2,
5.
it's made a very different start.
Normal service resumed What a shot.
Six. $12. 13. $15.
Desperately hoping to be on something. I think that red is very tight at best, even if it goes at all. This one is okay.
16.
Played that very nicely. Again, the difference between finishing straight or just short of the blue or finishing top side is enormous. It means the next shot from here is not difficult at all. He can get the cue ball just about wherever he wants. Looks like he might have wanted to get the
21.
cue ball into position where in this red he can push the red away from the black. It's one way you could play the shot. Yeah, nice cannon.
22.
As long as he finishes the job off here with this black and gets on a red, he's in. Good pot, not the perfect cannon.
29. $30. 37. 38. 45. 46.
'Worth remembering how he got in with
53.
a crunching long red and then a shot on the brown to really burst the pack open.
54.
And that's where Judd Trump is at his best, how dangerous a player he can be.
$61.
And he does his damage very quickly, doesn't he? Once he is in. Such a
62.
natural player. This is already frame ball. Well, it would have been a blow for Trump to lose that opening frame, and he might have done, but
69.
having won it, it looks as though he's relaxed into the match. Stephen Maguire is facing a 2-0 deficit.
Yes, he's really got going.
70.
First frame took a long time, 27.5 minutes. This, and under 7 minutes, it's been won. That's what Trump can do. He can win frames quickly and easily. He's always been like that, reeling off 2 or 3 in no time.
76. $77.
1-5 on the spin in no time in that cracking UK final a couple of seasons back with Ronnie O'Sullivan before the Rocket came up with a special break of his own to edge the match.
$82. 83. $89. 90.
This has been really good.
97. 98.
Tremendous break. The crowd appreciating the skills of Judd Trump here. His
100.
36th century of the campaign. Closing in on 500 career centuries.
102.
He's now at 495.
Jatron
And it was all
102.
launched by that
Conceded.
superb cueing on the opening red. And the rest never really looked in doubt. Tremendous stuff from Trump. A great century to double his lead to 2-0.
Third frame, Jatron to break.
Advantage Judd Trump then in his bid for a Scottish Open semi-final. 2-0 up now on Steve Maguire. The first frame could have gone either way. The second emphatically went the way of Trump. Superb opening red and a century to follow. So Stephen Maguire needs to click into gear here pretty quickly.
Yes, he certainly does, because that break came out of nothing. And they're the ones that really hurt, the ones where you do nothing wrong and your opponent crunches in a ball and wins the frame there and then. It means, of course, I'm sure Steve Maguire knew this, but his safety needs to be absolutely top-notch.
He made that precise point, didn't he, to you, Neil, ahead of this match, that Trump's modus operandi is a long red, get in, spread them far and wide and clear up. And that therefore his safety game would have to be rock solid today.
Foul. Jatron 4.
Good billiard shot.
I was thinking that, yes. it's the sort of shot that billiard players would have to play. But it's better off in there than rattling in the jaws and the cue ball coming back into the reds. It's not the end of the world.
Judd Trump's progress had been pretty serene in the early rounds. A whitewash of Robin Hull, Sam Craigie beaten 4-2. Michael Holt failing to take a frame, but of course last night a very different story. Squeaked through in that late night finish with Elliot Slesser 4-3.
Well, he's decided to put him back in. I don't know why, but he must think that maybe if Steve Maguire plays a safety shot from the right side of the bunch, he could leave a red out. He seems to think the same. But I guess he's got to play that shot anyway. played with caution, and that's a very good safety shot. Now, all of a sudden, Judd probably wishes he'd have played the shot that Steve Maguire played, because under that cushion rail is a good spot to be. Judd, I think, can get to the left red, but I don't believe he can pot it. I think he's got to use a little bit of swerve to even hit it. Oh, what a shot that is. That is a brilliant safety shot.
Virtually no margin for error with a shot like that, and Maguire the first to applaud it.
Yeah, I mean, some shots can go unnoticed. But that one, the audience saw, it was incredibly thin.
Another billiard shot, this time unsuccessful and potentially more damage.
Yeah, it's like there's almost a magnet attracting the balls towards the right corner when Maguire's playing those safety shots at the moment. There may be a thin red that pots. Don't know if that one goes he's looking at. But the one up the table cuts back in. Didn't
One.
deserve to go in off there. It was a very good shot. You've got no real control of the cue ball. It's impossible to cut that in and have any knowledge of where it's going to finish. As you're playing around the table, this will take a lot of power. It's another absolutely breathtakingly good shot. That is so difficult.
6.
Another demonstration of the cue power that Judd Trump possesses,
7.
managing to negotiate the baulk colours as well by a hair's breadth.
$14. $15.
The first frame of this match feels more and more significant now, because Judd Trump at times looked a little ill at ease, eventually got over the line, and since then he's looked a different player, hasn't he?
Well, he really has. First frame he's tentative. Not
22.
playing quite in the same vein as he is now. I don't know what happened, but I mean,
23.
since then, even in this break, the blue that he played all around the table was just a fantastic shot. And there's nothing better. I mean, we know how good O'Sullivan is when he's playing well, and we've seen him and John Higgins
30.
playing brilliant stuff, but Judd adds a different dimension even to those two.
31.
He's not quite classically as good, but he is incredibly dangerous. What a potter.
Yes, his run to the 2011 World Championship final featured some of the most devastating long potting you'll ever see. And he came pretty close to landing the biggest prize of all. He was well ahead of John Higgins at one stage. Perhaps got a little ahead of himself. Hasn't been back to the Crucible final since.
Well, that was a much more difficult pot than the blue, but it gave better position, got the cue ball Towards this end of the table, again, it's very well played.
35.
Suddenly he seems to be oozing confidence.
$36.
Yes, he's very much away again. I don't know if the pink's on its spot here or not. I don't know where it'll go when it's replaced.
Small one, please, Judd.
Yes, Peggy Lee asking for some time here, thinking it might go underneath or behind the bunch. It doesn't make a huge difference, but the pink's not really in play at the moment.
Thank you. 42. $43.
This time the keel just running and running beyond the red that he wanted to play on. And if he doesn't get
45.
this thread along the cushion, it's a difficult one. Sure, he played on the red up and to the left of the black, to the right corner. Choice between taking a risk to keep the break going or keeping a pretty strong advantage in the frame and match.
And he's got the utmost respect for Stephen
Judge
Maguire.
round 45.
His ability to clear up when he gets the chance, so no surprise to see Trump urging on the side of caution there. Disappointed, though, that he couldn't make more.
Well, the red up the table, I think, is the one he's playing the safety shot from here. A little bit short, not so bad though. Don't see any easy red on, but there might be one to the right corner. That's what Steve Maguire is having a look at. Yeah. I think it will go past the other one. Very well spotted even that it went.
1.
He's really done with a favourable nudge on that green to get him in.
Maguire completely frozen out in frame 2, so a welcome pot, but
Brown ball.
that's where it ends.
Stephen Maguire 1.
Don't think he'll be happy with that shot, because one thing he wanted to do was cover the left cushion to stop Judd dropping onto the bottom one, but I think he can get a clear shot through to it. So that wasn't the best of roll-ups from Maguire.
This is tough. That's really
One.
good cueing from Steve Maguire. Hasn't had many shots recently. And a nice kiss as well.
He's got to make this count, this opportunity. Little flick on the yellow puts him on the brown. If he can land in behind a red, he really has to take advantage of this.
Maguire failed a bit poorly earlier in the week and was in danger of losing his rag on occasion during his unconvincing win over Hamza Akbar in his second match, but bounced back tremendously to see off the dangerous Yan Bingtao 4-3 and then Su Si of China 4-1.
Five.
Yes, when I spoke to him early on, he mentioned Yan Bingtao, and he said that boy is going to be, as he said, the business. And he only just managed to beat him with all his experience by the odd frame.
6.
This would be a great frame to pinch, wouldn't it? Trump was looking good for
8.
3-0 before he ran out of position. Big difference between a 3-frame gap and just the one at 2-1. Maguire will then feel part of the match. Will still have the chance of sharing the frames pre-mid-session interval.
9. Fourteen. 15.
'It's an interesting way of playing it, to land on the other red, but the other red, the one that he nudged into, has actually held the black spot, which
22.
you could never have foreseen that happening. Means it, red to his next colour is more difficult because he can't get onto the black where it would usually be placed.
Twenty-three.
Well, not bad.
Thirty. 31.
'He's got to be a bit careful here with the pink. Just want that to come into play in playing on the last red. Playing the cannon on it's okay, as long as he hadn't pushed it near a cushion.
38.
Well, Maguire's the favourite to pinch this frame now, but he's still got to do the business. And there's pressure on him, of course, 2-0 behind.
39.
And taking a bit more time on this. A bit straight on the brown, I think. So yellow and yellow again by the looks of things.
$41. $43.
Well, he's just about got enough room to get through to the green. It must be quite tight, but he can get through. That's all that counts. Been an excellent performance. This
46.
standard has gone up and quite a bit in the last 2 frames.
Quite straight on this.
$50.
So the blue and the pink for 2-1.
$55.
And this has been a very classy contribution from Steve Maguire. Under the cosh at 2-0, Trump really flowing. Just lost position on his intended red, 49 in front. Excellent red to get in from Maguire, and this has been the result. This to halve the deficit. And that's the kind
61.
of ice-cool clearance that really does boost the confidence. And we have a match on our hands now. Judd Trump looked as though he was going to move 3-0 in front. As it is, the lead is just 1. Steve Maguire with a terrific break as he halves the deficit to 2 frames to 1.
Frame 4. Stephen Maguire to break.
Engrossing stuff here in Glasgow, the second quarter-final here at the Scottish Open. We already know Neil Robertson is through to play either the Rocket or the Wizard. O'Sullivan and Higgins doing battle tonight from 7 o'clock. But Steve Maguire has just conjured a bit of magic of his own. A superb pressure clearance of 61, having been 49 adrift and 2-0 down. It might just be a game changer. 2-1 now. This is the final frame before the interval.
Well, I have to say that he played the cue ball back there, and it was a very bizarre double kiss. The cue ball and the red travelling all different directions around the table, and they met. And that's why Maguire's got this chance. It's a bit unlucky.
One.
It's another good shot, played very plain ball,
6.
which is quite hard to do on that shot, just to make sure no side gets on it, and guided it round nicely for the red by the black. He's really up for this,
7.
isn't he? He was getting the treatment from Trump for 2.5 frames. Not getting any chance of his own, but he did finish that frame off well, as Philip said. Superb break. I think this match is going to get better and better.
Bad contact. In fact, a pretty gigantic kick. Maguire is not one of those who's using this fancy new chalk that
9.
seems to have cut the kicks out.
Yeah, the cue ball just died a death there, never moved.
Foul. And a miss. Stephen Maguire 9. Jack Trump 4.
Pretty frustrating couple of shots, back to back for Maguire.
One.
Well, another tremendous pot, but no position to go with it.
Quite unlucky not to be on anything there, actually. Any colour.
Pink ball.
Just playing safe here. And the
Jack Trump,
emphasis certainly
1.
will be on getting that cue ball as far underneath that cushion as you can get it. Both of these two. Well, that's stopped Steve Maguire in his tracks as he walked to the table. And he did put his hand up to apologise, but that's just etiquette.
You can almost see the mercury rising in the Glaswegian.
I mean, you've got the 1 minute you're walking to the table to play maybe a thin safety shot. Now you're in a snooker that it's actually quite difficult because, he's quite close to the brown there. And the red that's up onto the left of the bunch is stopping the roll up into the remaining cluster, I think. You just see if it can slide past the red. I think it's mostly in the way.
Foul. And a miss. Jack Trump 4.
He might try the same shot again. He wasn't far out there, actually, of clipping one of the low reds. A difficult shot. From where he's standing and looking along that line, there's not much room beyond the red that's out in the open. I don't think he played to hit that red personally. But he couldn't say he was lucky because he's unlucky to be there in the first place.
First 3 frames of this match average nearly 19 minutes, which is probably on the longish side for this pair, but I think it's indicative of how much there is at stake today. Stephen Maguire going for his second consecutive ranking semi-final. Judd Trump looking to recapture the form that saw him retain the European Masters this season. Of course, he had a disappointingly early exit to Graham Dott in York. Things didn't go to plan in Belfast either at the Northern Ireland Open.
Foul. And miss.
Well, Maguire
Shot on
furious.
Yeah, that was a misjudgment. I'm not sure which red. Maybe the one down to the left of the black on the cushion was the one he played a hit, but he was nowhere near that. He was furious. Q went
1.
in rage, but he was in a bit of trouble.
Seven. Eight.
This is what Maguire thought of that safety error.
Yes, he was in a bit of bother there, but the outcome was a long way from what he was looking for.
14. $15.
And of course, Judd Trump now has the chance to compound his opponent's misery by making something really big hit, taking a 3-1 interval lead.
$21.
Well, he didn't really get through that very well, unless it was a dreaded kick. I mean, the pink ball nearly took off there. It was bouncing on its way to the pocket.
$22. $27. $28. $34.
And it was the
35.
pace that saw that disappear. It was a very delicate shot, almost zero margin for error. It did catch the jaw, but gravity took over.
$42.
Just looking at what there was in that bunch of reds. I don't know if anything's a plant in the middle
43.
bag. It didn't look natural unless he could make it. Other than that, he could arc the cue ball into the pack from this pink pace. That's what he's done. He may have actually been looking at exactly that. It may not have been the plant at all. It may have been to push the red near the middle. If so, it was a very clever shot.
49.
Looks like being a frame winner.
50.
Yeah, he looks good today, doesn't he? I mean, we've seen him play okay this week, but I think, well, he's got a lot of respect for the man he's playing. He said that to me before the match in the interview. And he's played with due respect, but not without his usual panache. After the first frame, I thought he was a bit quiet, but since then he's attacked the balls, attacked the table.
56.
And looks like he's safe now. Certainly wants a snooker, Maguire. Don't know if he'll get the chance to get it, Philip.
No, certainly shouldn't do with this easy red to follow.
$57.
Had a bit of luck, didn't he, in holding or hiding the cue ball, I should say. At the start of the frame, snookering Maguire inadvertently, and ultimately Maguire leaving Trump in with a chance, which he's taken very nicely. This needed a bit of sorting
63.
out. He's had to engineer this opportunity to take a two-frame interval
64.
advantage. But he is cueing extremely well.
$70.
102 in the second frame.
71.
And every chance of another century here.
$77. $78.
No angle on the blue to get to the yellow, so it's the pink instead. He's played that very well.
$84. Judd Trump, 84.
No second century of this
conceded.
mini session, but Judd Trump will be more than happy with 84. It's been a really entertaining match thus far. Steve Maguire coming up with an excellent clearance to the pink to halve the deficit from some way behind, but Trump responding well in that frame, and he has the advantage at the break. He leads 3-1.
Indeed. As I mentioned earlier, Judd needs 2 more frames to book his place in the last 4. Maguire with it all to do. Let's rejoin our boys in the box. Neil Folds and Philip Studd.
Thank you. Frame 5, Judd Trump to break.
Yeah, it's a big frame, isn't it? Particularly for Maguire. Needs to keep Judd Trump within his sights. Trump needs just 2 more. The winner, of course, plays either Ricky Walden or Chow Yupeng. They're in action this evening on table 2 and on the player here on table 1. A mouth-watering prospect, O'Sullivan and Higgins. Well, that's a tremendous way to start the second half of this match. Stroked that in quite beautifully. Tough cueing as well, very close to the baulk cushion. And he's on the black.
$8.
Showed a lot of fight against Ronnie O'Sullivan from a seemingly hopeless position in their UK semi-final. Got pretty close to forcing a deciding frame. Of course, that was the best of 11.
8.
So a little bit more wiggle room. mega positive, but has he been unlucky?
Well, he couldn't have hit them much harder to split
16.
the reds, but they haven't really split very favourably, have they? The reds have moved. He didn't really hit the one that he meant to, but when that red popped back in for a second go, didn't leave him on anything. I guess at this level, the chances per frame are not very many. 1, 2, maybe. So one of them has kind of gone begging here, unless he can dig something out. I don't know quite what. Now, has he got a shot at one of the reds that are not in the bunch? Well, I think he's looking at one to the middle. It's a narrow angle. It's very difficult. This will be some shot. That really is a top-class shot. I mean, not only the pop, but the way he swung the cue ball round. He didn't have much room to play with. That's brilliant.
Well, 2 quite brilliant shots already in this modest break. Can he turn it into something sizable? Oh, no, Stephen.
Stephen Maguire, 17.
Isn't it amazing? Okay, that was never what you describe as easy, because there was the pot and the cannon that he was trying. But it was easier than the red, the shot before.
One. Eight. Nine.
Once again, just a little bit shy of pace from his red onto the blue, which means he can't get near to a red. But as you can see, he's shaping up to play one mid-range. As a left-hander, it's an easier shot than if he was right-handed, because he should be able to reach it all right.
Fourteen. 15.
Well played. Recovered the situation nicely. And he can just drop onto, certainly the bottom red goes to the left corner. And that's a natural just to lay him behind it. And of course the other one to the middle. Interesting shot selection again. Because the angle
20.
takes him into the bunch. Don't know why he didn't play on the other one, but there you are. There you are. Can't avoid the cannon.
Jack trump, 20.
Didn't play the blue very well, has to be said.
Yes, and he could have left something easier for Maguire than this. That kiss turned out to be quite handy for Trump. The red is on, clearly, but tough cueing when you're 3-1 down. Well played.
1.
Very well played.
Yes, this could really hurt Judd, because he was in there with a great chance, and now It's the other way round. Thanks in part to the way that Judd went about the end of that break, but also that was a great opener, like you said, from Maguire.
6. Seven. 12. 13. 20. 21.
'Now, does he consider playing to knock one of the two reds out? Obviously, the right one would be within his reach here. Yes, he's played it, and he's played it extremely well. It's a great shot. Totally as played. He took a long time to deliberate
28.
over it, but that was a good shot.
29.
Well, the two reds he felt were too safe to pot directly where they were. Now, that's very interesting because John Higgins had virtually the same shot when he
36.
looked like making a fourth century in the same match off that very cushion, which seemed to bounce a little bit more than he thought. Let's see if this one did the same. I think it's gone off that cushion very quickly indeed. Sprung off there, and that's why he's not on the red.
Oh, this is tough with the hamper queuing.
Stephen Maguire, 36.
And worse is that he's left it. In fact, he's left a couple.
Yeah, not an easy starter, but Maguire was unlucky there, I think. I can't prove that it was a big bounce, but it looked that way, and we've seen it already this week, so almost out of his control.
And it's a really big frame, this now, isn't it? Trump has had his chance. Maguire was looking good there before a possibly unlucky bounce. The difference between 4-1 and 3-2, absolutely huge in a best of 9.
One.
Well, he's actually moved the red via a little flick on the black. If this goes in, it gives him a real chance. It's tough.
Eight.
Well, again, not perfect by any means. Very good.
9.
And to miss the bulk colours. It's not unnatural to get onto a red. So he's got to, if he's going to play this shot, it's very difficult to cue down on this cue ball to get a bit of stun, to get down for the red. It's an excellent shot. Can't tell you how difficult that is and how easy he made it look.
14.
Well, this might just
15.
be a fatal blow for Stephen Maguire if Trump can clear up here. It's always going to be tough to lose this frame, but to lose it when he was looking good to win it before he got that suspect bounce, but a reprieve.
Yes, and of course, he didn't really want to play on the red because he uses the rest as a right-hander, and it would have been uncomfortable, I think, from that side of the table playing down the cushion. But he's very much in the frame, and now he's got to try and hit as much of the red as he can and play safe.
Jack Trump,
Pretty
22.
good. Don't know what Maguire can get to, whether he can see a feather of the edge of the red, but I doubt it. It's actually more difficult to hit than it first looks, this snooker.
It was about as good as he could do, wasn't it? But he could be in trouble again here.
Yes, I think Judd has got to make him pay here. He's got to execute this snooker well. And he didn't really want the red to go on that side rail. He wanted it out in the middle of the table.
Yes, Judd Trump, off camera, pulled a picture of a face there. He was furious that he left the red where it is. Easier to hit when it's near a cushion, of course.
Yes, and easier to get safe, I think, from there as well, even if it does hit it. I'm not saying anything there is particularly easy about this, but it could have been a trickier snooker. But this looks as if he's got to avoid the bulk colours. Wow, the speed he played it. I think I'll be having this put straight back. And
Jack Trump, 4.
I'd be interested if I was Judd Trump to see how he goes about this, because I think it's difficult the way he's playing it. Because the more side he puts on, left-hand side, the nearer to the brown he gets. Peggy Lee, the referee, she's got a pretty good idea exactly where the balls were. I think it's hard snooker. Left-hand side. It's a nightmare, isn't it?
Foul. And a miss. Jack Trump, 4.
I think if he hit it a little slower, the keeper wouldn't square up as much, and it would go a little wider and a bit closer to the red. So if he cut down his pace a fraction with the same amount of side, I think he'd hit it.
Needs to get it safe as well, of course. Good hit. Where's it going to end up? It's not looking promising right now. Goodness me.
Yeah, well, he's unlucky. I mean, it was hard to know where the balls were going to finish. But they finished it in a bad place.
1.
Well, this is going to be a very tough frame for Steve Maguire to lose if Trump now does the business. He's not had a lot of luck in this frame.
4.
It's a good hit out of a tough snooker, and to lead the red right over the bag, well,
6.
it was as bad as it could have been. But it's not over yet.
No, certainly not. And he doesn't need the pink, which helps. He'll be 15 in front by then.
Nine.
A big moment, because 4-1 is certainly not impossible for a comeback, but the way that the two of these are playing, Trump's playing a tiny bit better than Maguire, and for him to win 4 frames in a row would take some doing. And that, I think, is the equation.
13.
Simple blue is all Trump needs to put himself 3 up with 4 to play.
$18.
Look for the cannon.
Well, he needs to put this over the pocket. Chip it over the top right pocket, I think, in or over, preferably in. He got a kick, but that was what he tried.
Jack Trump, 18.
Just the one snooker, but clearly that is a tall order in itself with just pink and black to play for, play with.
Yep. Thanks.
He hasn't quite put this frame away yet. As I say, if he put it in the jaws of that top right, which he's tried to do twice, it's almost impossible not only to keep the ball out of the pocket, but getting a snooker, well, out of the question. But he's not done that, and there's just a glimmer of hope that he could get one here. Thin off the pink, difficult, but just a glimmer. Double kiss has got to be avoided as well. Might be playing it in a different way. No use to him. Again, if I was Trump, I would just get the ball over a pocket. Worry too much about anything else. This time bottom left. Becomes a strange game at the end of a frame of snooker like this, doesn't it? Most of the time you're trying to pot balls, now you're happy to leave them over the pocket. course, the other thing you do if you're Judd Trump, you just make sure that the cue ball's going absolutely nowhere near a pocket and you're going off without being snookered. That is the cardinal sin.
Foul.
And that just about
Jack
sums
Trump
up
6. Frame
that
conceded.
all-important fifth frame for Steve Maguire. Nothing went right for him. He did have a chance. He lost position, perhaps through an unfortunately lively bounce. And in the end, Judd Trump extends his lead to 4-1. Well, Steve Maguire started the previous frame with a brilliant long red from the baulk cushion. And he did have an opportunity to close the gap to 3-2. Didn't enjoy much rub of the green in that frame, but you have to give credit to Judd Trump. He's been pretty clinical today. He scored well by and large. A couple of big breaks, 102 and 84. And winning that all-important fifth frame to give himself plenty of breathing space. Just one more required for a place in the semi-finals. And a meeting with either Ricky Walden or Chow Yu Peng. Maguire needs something extra special now. And of course, we still have something extra special this evening from 7 o'clock here on Eurosport. What a match it promises to be. Ronnie O'Sullivan against John Higgins, one of the greatest rivalries in the history of this game, is continued. And Higgins will feel he owes Ronnie one. He's lost 4 times to the Rocket this season. A couple of those were drubbings. So it's going to be fascinating. O'Sullivan, of course, going for his 4th ranking title before Christmas this season. Remarkable. Again, doesn't leave anything.
No, got away with it a little.
Foul and a miss. Stephen Maguire 4.
Maguire invites Trump to play from there. Well, it was only a matter of time, I guess, before Trump found his range again with those long pots, which are his speciality. Missed a couple early in this frame, but not that time, right in the heart of the pocket.
He's a very difficult man to keep out for long. And now it's a question of what he can achieve from this chance. Could go into the bunch, but this time I think playing with a little bit more control is not a bad idea to play on this loose red.
4. 5.
Well, this is a chance to put the match away quickly, as we're saying. So we'll see how ruthless he can be here.
$12. 13.
Well, he's got a red to the middle, but it's not an easy one.
20.
Queuing down on the shot. Tough. Very difficult
Jack
shot,
12,
that.
20.
Well, he's just lost his way a little bit, hasn't he? I understand him trying to make things happen, but the shoulders have dropped a tiny bit. I can understand why. Nothing much has gone his way, Stephen Maguire, in this match. Trump's been the better player, but Maguire's not had the best of things.
Well, again, that sounded like a very heavy contact. I'd be quite keen to ask Stephen after this match if he's thought about changing to the new chalk, because I've seen him get an awful lot of kicks in the last couple of tournaments. Trump also using the more conventional blue chalk. A lot of the players have converted to the new green stuff. In fact, Ronnie O'Sullivan switched from one to the other mid-match. Pretty close, but now he's missed it. This is a chance for Maguire.
And not only is it a chance, it's a really good opportunity as well. I mean, the balls are spread handsomely.
Six. 7.
'Only one real
14.
break of significance from Maguire so far, and it was a very good one. The clearance to the pink of 61 from 47
15.
behind to close the gap to 2-1.
22. $23.
You have to go back to the 2013 Welsh
28.
Open for the last time Maguire lifted a ranking title.
29.
And there was a 5-year gap between that success and his previous ranking triumph. 5 in all on his CV. The biggest, of course, the UK back in 2004, when he was electric. Brushed aside the
34.
opposition. And it seemed then a certainty that he would win big on a regular basis. Didn't quite happen.
35.
I still think that that crucible loss to John Higgins when he was 14-10 up in the semi-finals and lost 17-15 was something of a turning point in Maguire's career. But there's no doubt that he is a top-class player. He plays the game the right way. He knows his way around a table. He can score heavily.
42.
And he's still only 36.
43. $48. 49. 52. 53.
'Yes, without any great alarms, he's taken them this far. He's still got a little bit more to do. The 42, so he needs a red
58.
and, well, any colour. So just got to give this one a bit of care because he's slightly overrun. No problem. So it looks
59.
like he is going to pull a frame back, and it's a frame that Judd was in, first in. I'll give him some hope that the comeback is not out of the question.
Encouraging applause.
64.
Steve Maguire's home crowd. He said it would be beyond special to win this title. And he's also
65.
admitted to feeling extra pressure playing in front of his home fans and his family and friends. Well, he's got an awful lot still to do to realise that dream, but you have to start somewhere. This has been a good
70.
break.
71.
That man won't be taking anything for granted. He knows
76.
the job is far from done. He respects Maguire's game
78.
greatly. He knows what he's capable of.
$81. 85.
Well, centuries are within his grasp here now because it's a question of this cue ball coming in and out of bulk. Getting the pace of it right.
90.
No
Stephen
century,
Maguire,
but
90,
a
and the
clinical
frame.
break of 90 from Stephen Maguire, and not a moment too soon. He keeps his Scottish Open hopes alive, but he still has much to do to turn this match around. He now trails by 4 frames to 2.
Frame 7, Judd trumped break.
Judd Trump still just 1 frame away from a place in the Scottish Open semi-finals and a meeting with Ricky Walden or Chow Yupeng. Stephen Maguire needs the remaining 3 after an excellent break of 90 to keep his hopes alive. And that is the ideal start to frame 7. He's in rhythm, having made that 90 break. Can he do something similar here?
Yeah, you don't feel that this match is over, not after the last frame. And that shot, given that he's now on a bulk colour, he wouldn't drift into bulk, and with only a safety shot next, he's got one that he can go for instead. He stayed down on that one. He wasn't certain if it was going off the jaw, but it did.
3. 4.
Well, that's not perfect by any means.
11.
I don't know if he can get through to the left-hand red, in which case it's not bad if he can. Well, I think he is on it, actually. It's tight.
12.
I'm talking absolute fractions there.
Seventeen. Eighteen. $25. 26. $33.
No, that's a terrific shot. He had the
34.
angle to do it, but you have to be not so much brave, but you have to really be optimistic that you're playing well enough to top the cue ball through the bunch. There's nothing worse than getting stuck in them. He played it well. He's moved reds out into open as well.
$41. $42.
Well, he took a calculated risk once again, and this time, what is he on? He looks Looking
49.
at the two-ball plant, I think, which turned out to be there. But as you can see, this is not an easy one. He's got to hit the first red quite thin. And the more you look at this, the more you realise it is a missable plant. Some are unmissable. This one could go wrong.
And it certainly did.
Oh, everything moved there.
Stephen Maguire,
Hardly a
49.
ball on the table didn't move.
Seemed to hit it awfully hard.
I think there was a bit of frustration in that from the shot before, and he didn't like it much, did he? Look at the speed he hit it at. It was difficult.
What's worse is that he's left an easy starter for Trump.
1.
Who's just landed the wrong side of the blue. So Maguire 48 in front.
Well, all of these reds seem to go to the left corner. It's a question of take
6.
your pick which one gives him the best angle, but as you can see, he's not all that near to any of them. Oh, that's very, very unlucky
Foul.
indeed. But you saw from that low
Trump,
angle
6.
of the pot
Stephen
that it was
Maguire,
always on his
4.
way in. That is unlucky. From this angle, you think straight away that's gone in.
Yes, and had he got the right side of the blue, of course, he wouldn't have had that scenario. The red would have been much easier.
Yeah, that's very true. But I think you have to say that maybe on another day it wouldn't have gone in. But it does mount up from the shot before sometimes, the pressure.
Oh, no. Well, that could be curtains.
Maybe. He's got a long way to come back in the frame, but Trump could be just the man to do it.
One.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy table. The colours are all right, actually, even though the pink's away from its spot. It's very much in play. It's just those three slightly safe reds.
Maguire has got to be super frustrated with that, though. He's worked really hard to just give himself a glimmer of hope here, or even more than a glimmer, and to miss this red when he's already
8.
well in front in the frame. It was a clear chance to close to 4-3. Was that a kick
9.
as well? I think it might have been. Seemed to take the pace out of the cue ball, and the red laboured to the pocket. Straightened up very slightly.
Well, it's a good shot to remove one red and play on the other one, but I wonder if that red that he's moved has made it difficult to get
16.
the bottom red onto the black. That's given him a bit of a headache now. I think the idea was right.
Maguire hoping for another opportunity. He may well get one.
It's a question of what angle he has on this bottom red. Oh, it's just off straight. Going to hit this with pace.
17.
It's a great effort, but you saw the problem was the fact the red's there in the first place. Otherwise, he'd have still been going.
Blue ball. Jack Trump, 17.
30 the difference, 51 remaining.
1.
Wow, what a pot. What a pot. That hasn't quite come far enough for the black.
No, but it was a screamer, wasn't it? Great shot. I wonder if he'll think about putting the black onto the side cushion here. I think I'd be, in playing
Black ball.
safe, getting that black onto the rail out of the game. That's what he's played. Makes perfect
Stephen
sense.
Maguire 1.
Just the 1 point, but it's enabled him to make life more awkward for Trump.
And in turn, Judd gets the black back into play. These are little things that happen in the game that, you know, can be missed. Now, if he got a chance, Trump, that is, he would fancy clearing up and winning the match. The balls are no longer safe. And now, Maguire is moving out the safer of the two reds in playing this shot. All to play for in the frame still. He's got to be extremely careful here, Maguire. And as we're saying, nothing really is safe. And that's always your worst nightmare. When a player's got a good lead, he just doesn't want to see all the balls in the middle of the table. It's no fun. You can just see half of the red he's closest to. How does he get safe?
Well, it wasn't far away. And had it gone in, it would have been a great chance to steal and take the match. So this frame still on a bit of a knife edge, even though Maguire has that handy lead. Now then.
Yes, he played that with a lot of pace, and it was only the pace that stopped the pot going in, I think. It's not an easy starter here for Judd, but as we're saying, one red could bring the frame and match. Well, it's a brilliant pot. Look at the way he's played it cleverly, because he wouldn't have left the other red, and he's right behind the black. What a chance. What's his best colour here? I mean, he can obviously just screw onto the black. I guess to keep it simple, you do play on the black.
8.
Maguire leading the frame won't count for a lot. But on another day, you might play up for a lower value colour from this, because the lower value colour up the table onto yellow is a considerably easier shot.
Nine.
Trump will be very keen to put this to bed here and now. If he loses this frame, he'll start to feel it a bit. Maguire coming back at him.
$16. 18.
Controlled that well. And now Maguire will be fearing the worst.
$21.
I guess blue not being on its spot just makes it something to think about, this clearance, but I think he'd be okay from the angle he has from brown to get on it. And then obviously pink to black.
25.
There is room for that shot to go wrong, and that's what Steve Maguire is hoping for. Could end up putting the pink and ended up with the cue ball underneath the black cushion or similar. It's happened before.
$30.
So this is not a straightforward shot here, you know, to get from pink to black. And he needs them both. And he's a bit straight, so he's got to force this in. This is a
36.
very, very good effort. It's a terrific shot.
So this black and Judd Trump is in the semi-finals. Well played.
Trump,
Nice
43.
clearance from Trump. A really entertaining match. Stephen Maguire played his part. He always felt, after Trump won that nervy opening frame, that he held the upper hand. He scored pretty well, and he always seemed to have something to spare. Stephen Maguire suffers another disappointing defeat, but for Judd Trump, he's through to another major semi-final, 5-2.